That is why I love you so. That is why I love you so. That is why I love you so. Baby, 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 I want the world to know. Blue Argonite to the party people. Um, um, Wow, that was nice. That was very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Give me a little more. Giving you more than what you're funking for. Well, good evening out there in YouTube land. Welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. Whenever you watch this, if you watch this now or watch this later, welcome. My name is Big Pontiac, and I will be your host for the next. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't really figured that out yet. But for the next, I'll be chopping. I'm also the owner of the Creation Ball Field and the Sacred Creation Ball Game created by the Hero Twins. I am also your Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of the chocolate mountaineers on my patio from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight we are highlighting a local beer. I cannot tell you the alcohol content because I can't find a can. Not listed, and I didn't. It says ale, but this is definitely this is called Summit Slugfest. Summit is again in St. Paul. Several good beers, but this is their unfiltered IPA, or it says juicy IPA, which means not as, which is not as, it has a slight bit of less bitter. IPAs tend to be more hopsy, and hops are kind of bitter. That is why if you look at my glass, it's not filtered. And I used to do beer too. I used to brew big batches. So pop them if you got them. Sure. Look at that golden goodness. Don't you wish you were me right now? Don't you wish you were me? Receiving this golden goodness. And they're still smoking on the Yukon Wolf. This is the Evolve Plus. If you need plus, so smoke them if you want them. Like JJ used to say, that is dynamite. Dynamite. Well, hey, Smooth, what is happening? Smooth Mixed Light Skin Goodness, 1997. What is happening? Thank you for joining me. I don't know if y'all can catch it if the mic is picking up this wind. We've got about 30 miles an hour wind. It's like howling like a motherfucker out there. Beautiful day yesterday. Today, not so much. Cloudy. Still the children was out playing, but cloudy. And I messed around, hurt my leg. I'm glad I'm going to therapy. Messed around, hurt my leg a little bit. Kind of tweaked my Achilles. I jumped in the air, and a lot of times my foot will land like this. So I jumped up in the air instead of my foot, landing like this. My foot didn't react, and it stayed. And so that puts a shock on my Achilles. My shit's all swelled up. And then before yesterday's show, the table tapped me, and my shit is like, it was big ballooned. It's really still swollen. It's like I'm already suffering from some meniscus pain. And I didn't really have a brace when I played yesterday. I had a little meniscus sprain for sure, or probably a little slight patella sprain. And then the table tackled me, but just on the bone more than in where the meniscus lies. So that helped. That did not hurt quite as much, but my shit is like an egg on my leg. So the adventures of being 60. So I don't know if people wanted me to rehash kind of what me and Super sliding over if you didn't watch it, if anything wasn't clear. It's a lot. I only took about 3-page notes. Yeah, only 3 pages. So it's not a lot I could really, if you listen to me all the time, you'll kind of heard a lot of it. I'll say this, I guess if the question was asked, like, what would be the difference between our lives right now and my great-grandparents' life? Now, again, both of my great-grandparents were born in the 1800s. And the difference would be land. I mean, my great-grandfather and his 2 brothers, all own land. I've told the story before how my great-grandmother married my great-grandmother at 15, and he had to give my great-grandfather like something like, I don't think it was 1,000 acres, but probably a couple hundred acres to marry her. He was 29, she was 15, and they got married. And that would be the difference. All of my great-grandparents own land, all of them. And I'm going with my mother's, my father's grandparents. That's kind of what I'm, putting it in. So their grandparents own land. Now, land, of course, I'm talking about, whereas my mother and father, both homeowners in their life. My father, they've since to a condo, but and to this day, of all that farmland, only the original house of my great-grandfather still, like the Mississippi people, again, in Mississippi, we got ran off the land, probably for the cheap, but the terror thing, and the factories in the north was kind of booming. My great uncle's son, like my third cousin, still owns part of what would have been his father. Okay, his grandfather would have been my great uncle. Yeah. Father would have been like one of my cousins. His father would have been my grandmother's first cousin, if you can. So, I would say that's kind of like the difference in part of our lives. As I said, during my family's tradition of Christmas and Thanksgiving, it was always all the food was produced locally. Food was produced by the family, and that probably didn't change in the 70s. That's what I'm guessing. That probably didn't even change into the 70s. So this was the great pride of the family was having land, having the land. Hey, Mr. Lamborghini Leg Lock, what's happening? Glad to see you, brother. And as I was saying, like to really just get township, it just takes land. It takes land. And that's where it appears like you can get some type of sovereignty to incorporate your own city and your own government. And of course, you got to stay you directed by federal laws, state laws, of course. But it gives you, I think, a bigger voice, and I think that's the more miss is where brother, recognized that kind of thing. There was others that took Nubal Dro Ali's advice about setting up those kind of charters in township, because that's what was done before, right after, before Jim Crow, during Reconstruction, but even after Reconstruction, even during Jim Crow, we kind of used that as well. Okay, you don't want us to be in your cities? We'll live in our own cities and do our own thing. And you really didn't have to deal with the European at all, except in trade. And as we again doing better, and then into murders and pillage and loot. Richer people don't loot. Only poorer people loot. And that's what we've seen over and over again. You hear that in Road, they showed that in the movie, the looting, and you definitely saw that in Tulsa, which Tulsa had some applications of oil to be considered. Now, if we look at Wilmington, there's an overthrow of a state government, and the state government asked for federal help, and the federals didn't do anything to protect the state. I mean, even in the 1919 riots, when some of the brothers still had them guns and was shooting back at their asses, when the National Guard come in, the National Guard work with Europeans. As the soldiers is own, the National Guard are working for the Europeans to protect them. And then wanting to arrest the military people for defending themselves. Hey, Black Trucks, what's happening? Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate you coming. So these are some considerations we all have to have. I usually go on every night. I won't be on tomorrow night, and I won't be on the night after that. I'll come back like Thursday morning, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I'll probably do the 2:30. Well, yeah, the 2:30 Central show. School starts Tuesday back. We're gonna have crappy weather, so I know I'm taking my daughter to school, and I'm picking her up because it's gonna be crappy weather all week. As I've said, it's raining. It's not raining, but it's howling, and we're supposed to have rain for the next 3 days. But thank you for joining me. I always got something to say about something. I always got something to say about something. So these are some considerations about history that can't be overlooked. And so is that possible again today? Is that possible again today to be self-sufficient? As people like the Manson thing again was to chase people out of communions, having communities, the isolated communities. That's what the Manson thing was, to run them people out of the deserts, the desert states where people was like, hey, we want our own thing to run people out of the desert states. So that was one of the things that was the Manson, which I still think was not a real event, is just too much overkill for it to be real. But that's what it was about, to scare people, because that's what people have done. People just said, okay, you don't dig that we're young, we wear our hair long, we want to do our own thing, then we'll leave you. We'll leave you. We'll separate. Of course, the guy doesn't want that. It's like this thing about getting the little houses. There's laws in most cities where you can't have a house smaller than 1,200 square feet in some instances. Now, of course, apartments can be smaller, but when people wanted to buy, a bunch of these little houses, again, they could get rid of the homeless problem. These inexpensive houses can be made with hemp. They can be made with recycled tires. They can be made with recycled cans. I mean, there's so many ways to build a house. Not given what state and stuff, but our system of government requires poor peasants. The system of government requires peasants. And as I said before, capitalism was really created by Jewish faith people and Protestants to benefit them. They created their own system that will benefit them. And their system, again, especially with Jewish faith people, is they're not going to do any work within the land. So they get others to do that work for them. Alchemist, what's happening? Hey, thank you for the kind words. So cool. I watched your video on Dwayne Haskins. I agree, it was sketchy and how he died. Oh goodness, Mr. Sly and I talked about that. And this, like, if this ain't a smack in the face to our athletes, if this don't scare our athletes, I don't know if anything ever will, because this makes no sense. And watch him try to come back and say that this dude was working out. Watch him try to say that he was on drugs or something, when yes, he was definitely led out there, and he could not have under his normal mind, because what is it called, a fight, or what is it, fright or fight, or flee or fight? What would make him want to flee across that highway? Because if you had some kind of issue here, of course you'd want to get across. Then again, what would take your judgment? Say this man was so drunk he wandered, and watch the bar, wherever the place be, miles away, and they're gonna say, well, he just was on his merry way and he just started to cross the highway. This is during the daytime too. It's illegal to walk the highways. You can't really hitchhike anymore. Now it's illegal in most places. It's illegal to be out there walking unless your car breaks down. And again, you got phones. That's why they got highway markers. So the story is just like, it's not even hidden that it's ritual. That's what we all should be appalled by. We should all be appalled by this. Then, as I mentioned, number 24, and somebody added 24 days before his birthday. And even someone threw in the day, 4/9. Again, that's 13. And I'm seeing 13 pop up everywhere that day. So it was high ritual going on. And if that doesn't wake these players up, I don't know what will. That they can put you in a situation and drug you and then drop you off. I mean, that's the typical hit. That's the hit if you really look at it, because then it's like nobody else killed him. He walked in front of a truck during the daytime. Instead, if you want to look at the geometry, just look at the accident reconstruction of it. Look where, for that truck to hit him, okay, look at the miles per second, and look at how on just you as a person, look at what's like Kenworth dump truck, a dump truck. If he's going 60, look at a normal person looking at how long it would take you to beat that truck on 60. You're going to not even try it unless it's about a mile away. And a mile in the car ain't that far. They can do a mile. A mile in a minute or two. So But a mile away, you would have enough time. But 100 yards away? Hell no. 200 yards away? Maybe. Depends how fast you run, depend on where you were when you saw it. But anything less, you're going to get hit. And so we see that he couldn't have been in the right state of mind. And they're going to come with some bogus story. They're going to come with some bogus story on, well, watch him try to say he was on cocaine or he was on heroin. And then the story ain't going to make no sense because he's on heroin. Damn if you going to want to walk when you're on heroin. But watch him come up with some bullshit story. Or he was drunk, but drugged. It just doesn't make sense. And it's sad that it's come to this. Sad that nobody more arms about it. And I don't know what you want to call this, whatever community you want to call this. So I don't even think we need to name it. We just need to name to get the information out there. And as Dane Calloway says, make you think. Make us think. So, yeah, really, really sad. Really sad that it comes to that. And alarming in the same instance. So, did you guys see the Lakers? Vogel got fired today, the last game. So Vogel, they were saying they didn't even tell him. Like they said they'll tell him Monday. So you see it on ESPN. The reporters, that same kind of thing they did with Brady. The reporters get the stuff, put it out there. So Frank Vogel is fired. And they're talking about bringing Dan Antonio back, like that worked with him there before with Kobe. So, yeah, that just happened tonight. I don't know if SD or forget the because I got a Yankee guy that listens, and then it's a Sox guy, and Yankees lost tonight. The Yankees lost tonight. Was it hard hitting? Much love and respect. They didn't even say he was changing a tire or anything. No vehicle. No vehicle. I listened to the state troopers report. No nothing. Why is he out? Even question that. Why was he out there? Who dropped him off? How did he get there? So yeah, it would be hard, like, for me to even understand that, like, being his parents. It was like, what are you talking about? Why would he do such a thing? That makes no sense. The story makes no sense. But that's the price of fame. That's the price of fame. Like I was reading that book called Interference, and one thing about, like, people have to understand about when you fix games, trying to understand this is, substitute players don't need to know. I mean, it's a lot of players that don't even need to know. So it's until it's your time, it's only certain people that need to know. It's like you take a hit, it's a small number of people that's going to know when the hit comes. You don't want to have what do they call it in police work? You don't want to have that chain of evidence. You want the evidence to be, you got a death here and wonders here, question mark. So, wowzers. Hey, Lorenzo. Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think I did a better job of listening. Sometimes to get the information out, I don't listen. I think I did a better job of listening to the question and then responding. I'll say that. So thank you, though. And those that participated in that, thank you so much. I appreciate all the people that came over. Anybody new checking out tonight, thank you. Try to put this information out, and I do give freely. I don't own this information. I do, I buy my books and stuff, but it's stuff that I would do even if I didn't do this. I would do this on my own. All biz, what's happening? Celtics now got to play the Nets first round. Yeah, I saw that. It was just the games really didn't mean that today. Memphis set out everybody. So, and Charles Barkley, I don't know if y'all caught this. Charles Barkley says something very interesting. Charles Barkley said, why would I want to put all that money around my neck? Like, why would I spend $70,000, $80,000? He said, it's probably $1 million worth of jewelry. Now, jewelry is not a bad investment. in most cases, you can get back a sizable amount of what you put in it. Uh, Especially like if you looked at it like this and you really had to sell it in a pinch, if you melted down and that put all the additives in, and if you had a sizable amount, you could get a nice little chunk and almost get all your money. So it's one of those things that's going to hold a lot of its value, especially if you need to liquidate. It's a great thing to do when you liquidate. Hey, Mac5, brother E. I just got through with a live stream with A6 and Grind Time. Oh, okay. I wish I'd have known. You should have sent me a text or something. I wish I'd have known. Yeah, golden diamonds, absolutely, golden diamonds. And if you got really clear diamonds, pretty good return on clear diamonds. But it will help you liquidate. Some things you can't just liquidate as quick. And it's always a good investment. But I saw what Charles was saying. I think jewelry is never enough. Now, I don't know. I can only take so much weight. I mean, between this thing, because silver's heavy. Gold's not really heavy. Silver's heavy. And I mean, this thing is heavy. My neck has to be so strong to be able to accept wearing this. But I've always wore, when I was young, my grandmother used to buy me that Avon jewelry. Like Avon used to have an eagle. I wore that forever. But we was always, as children, given gold chains. Yeah. So college had gold chains. So it's something, I don't know, like my grandparents wore big jewelry. My grandfather, they got into the Western stuff. And my grandfather wore the bolo ties. He had a cowboy hat with silver dollars all around it. He had one with silver and he had another one with gold dollars all around it. They'd wear the cuffs, turquoise, the red coral. That's how I got into fire agate through my grandparents and understanding those kind of things. So it's kind of been, and it's kind of I'll say a Michigan thing a little bit too. But it's just your personal preference, So that's all. Hey, Necessary Evil, thank you for joining me. Lapis is a great pendant for healing and meditation. It is. And lapis is, a very ancient stone. Thank you for joining me, Necessary. Thank you for seeing you even earlier. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. Yeah, lapis, it's in the bowl in front of me. I'm not going to grab it. But yeah, I don't have a lot. I'm trying to, it's in this bowl in front of me. But I have a few pieces. I probably wouldn't even hurt to meditate with it. Yeah. Because I try to meditate with most of my stones too. So I generally very rarely don't meditate. Like I wear jewelry when I meditate. That say they can't wear metals, which I don't understand. I mean, all this stuff is working for them. So why I wear it when I meditate? 6-figure days. I like selenite and rose quartz. My rose quartz is in the bowl, but here's my wand. I always keep this. And this is supposed to come from the Nakia Caves in Mexico. Now, if it did not, I bought Heaven and Earth, and this is actually supposed to come from the Nakia Cave where all the big crystals was found. And the crystals, I think, are gone because they flooded it. And this stuff dissolves in water. But yeah, them big crystal caves. And it's another called the Cave of Swords. If you can get some from the Cave of Swords, that's still down there from that. Oh, well, thank you. I do have a rose quartz spear, though. Yeah, I do. I have a rose quartz spear. Yeah, that has a nice little holder for it. So yeah, and that's nice. I mean, like tonight, or earlier today, I meditated, and it was like I meditated. I must have really meditated for an hour and 45 minutes because I was waiting for Sly's text, and I started meditating about 4 or something. Yeah. And when I got out of it and looked at the clock, it was like a couple minutes to 6. So it was a pretty good, but Danburite, and again, I don't have any Danburite right in front of me. It's a Zoolite. Zoolites are so great because they take things away from you. Again, this is a Popalite, a Zoolite. Concanianite. This is a Zoolite from Alaska. Pretty rare in the community. Had to order this stuff. These are scrubbers that take stuff off of you. But Damberite, let me see, maybe I can give a quick reference to it. I think it's Judy Hall book. But it puts love in your heart, gives you a little stabilization. And maybe it's not in, yeah, right here. I turned right to it. That looks like it's a pink stone like that. I've got a bunch of pieces, but it's highly spiritual stone carrying a pure vibration, working on the heart, and it activates both the intellect and higher consciousness, linking into the angelic realm. A lot of zoolites do that. Its brilliance comes from cosmic light, and Damberite sometimes with a Buddha formation within the crystal that draws enlightenment and spiritual light. It smooths the path ahead. Wearing Damberite provides a link to serenity and eternal wisdom. Use the meditation, it takes you to a higher state of conscious and access to inner guidance. So kind of work with that a little bit today. And I tell you, this, I guess this didn't come up with me in slide. I kind of forgot about it, but this stuff here, this is really kind of, somebody said the TV show where the dude was possessing people, where he was jumping every week from person to person. But I'm starting to feel like that because yesterday, for a few seconds, I was able to jump into some young teenager for a minute. It was interesting because it caught me off guard, and it's like I'm not aiming for stuff anymore. It's just, it came, and then next thing I know, I'm looking through these eyes. And again, there's a movie called The Eyes of Lord Marsh. I'm looking through this young dude and his friend, and I'm just like looking at his friends. And I was only able to hold it, not very long. But it was still like I went in and then I kind of came out. So it was interesting. It's kind of interesting. This shit is really, since I kind of talked to the sisters, is like, hey, can I use this stuff? It's becoming a lot easier. It's a lot easier. So again, practice. Hey, Tyrone Church, what is happening? Oh, and I'm sorry if I don't show this book. Womb and Alien Spirits, but these sisters, this book's got keepers. There's books out there, and this book's got keepers. Now, I don't know if everybody can activate the keepers in the books, but I know I got to reading this. I wasn't even through it, and I was meditating one day, and I seen these sisters came in. It was like, they're checking me out. So, don't know if everybody can generate that. Again, you get over the blood, and you understand you ain't got to use the blood. It's where a lot of people would get caught into. Okay, I saw somebody. Right here, another 13. Tiger only played that plus 30 at the Masters. Also been involved in several in that. That's a good character. Wow. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There was no way he was gonna win. You ain't been playing really, but that he shot that. I mean, this dude crushed his leg. What, a year ago? Less than a year ago, he crushed his leg, and then he comes back and plays 3 days of 18-hole golf. That is amazing. And I don't think they can use carts. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so, because remember, years ago we had that handicap golfer, and they wouldn't letting certain events, wouldn't let him take golf. You know, some events you got to walk. So I don't know if that's what Tiger had to do. I need to meditate early this morning. A woman with bad energy almost made me snap at her. Yeah, get that off you. Get that off you. Definitely get that off you. So I'm glad you was able to hold it. But yeah, I mean, I meditate pretty much daily. Rarely miss a day to meditate and reflect. As I say, I work with the stone. Like I know my brother, and again, his channel is Thought and Merlin and the Serpent. But I know he calls on things, like when he tries to go in, actually call on things. I'm getting better at doing that. I kind of just being able to go in and experience. And especially getting clarity, but I'm getting better at that. I see where situations, and as I talk about the cards, these cards, this book with these cards actually talk about their situation where you can call on these things, because it might balance out the situation. That's I guess a way of putting it. It's like it's certain energies I'll say this: just get certain crystals for can change your mood or your vibration. There are energies that will work with you that do the very same thing. I can't tell you what it is for you. You kind of figure that out. Again, crystals can do it, but there's other energies. Talismans. A lot of times, you can work with your talisman. Your talisman can help you clear energies too. So there's no one way. There's no one way. And anyone tells you it's one way to meditate. That's why I don't like that Reiki stuff. Anything where I got to hypnotize myself, I got to brainwash myself. I got to brainwash myself to suggestions, because that's kind of what they do is they give you information to kind of get used to these patterns, and it kind of sets you up for a type of brainwashing or preconditioning. And as always, like when you get a massage, there ain't a lot of spiritual energy going there where the person is stronger than you spiritually to take spiritual advantage of you. And that can happen. Stronger people, energy vampires, come in all shapes and forms. And they can seem positive and try to get you to do something. And that is the problem I have with Reiki, because in most instances, you've got a stronger spiritual person working with a weaker spiritual person. Now, I can't say everyone is like that, but I look at that as a practice, and to me, that would seem like once you get more seasoned and you get strong and you get strong enough, or you carry the right crystals that can protect you, or however set up your protections, because again, that ain't one thing either. Spiritual protection can come in a lot of different ways. So there's no just one way to do it. So you have to see, as I've said before, your clothing you wear could give you some type of protection too. Colors that you wear in your jewelry, be it a real, whatever you wear. There are a lot of ways to give you spiritual protection. Your attitude, that could give you spiritual protection. So there's no one way. I just give suggestions on possibilities, and especially, learning to be present. You get more out of life if you're present, enjoying the moment. Too often we don't enjoy the moments. As I've said before, I at a very young age, like I could be at a party and I could feel where the party is peaking. I could feel where the energy is at the highest. You go to a party and people come. I've always been able to sense this, like, wow, this party, this is the peak of it. And then you can see as the party dies down, but I was always able to absorb that energy that the party was at, the party was at its peak. I was always able to tap into that and recognize that. And then really ride that wave where the party had built to kind of some monster energy to build up. And so I guess I'm saying that is even now just on appreciating the moment, because too often in our lives, we don't appreciate just the moment to moment, because the moment is all we really have. I mean, if you just sit there and look at yourself, how often do you really appreciate who you are, how you look, how everything you've done to keep yourself in whatever appearance you're in? How proud are you that you've done that? Yeah. I mean, where you can look at yourself and you feel healthy, you feel good, or whatever state you're in, that you just appreciate yourself. How often, like men, how often do you just shave? You just shave. Put on deodorant, jump in the shower, jump out the shower. But when you're sitting there looking at the mirror, how often do you really look at yourself and think about it? I mean, we don't. We go through. I've watched women put makeup on their face and not even, they look at how the makeup's turned out, but they don't really even just take that moment to look at themselves. They look at makeup. They look at the details of the fakeness they've been there. They don't just get into the detail of themselves. So, is 13 really unlucky? No, not really. Technically, the Mayan days is 13 days. The rhythm of the Mayans is 13 days of 20 months. So 1320 is actually a kind of vibration in the Americas. So what we have is, again, we we have a corrupt kind of spiritual system that wants to corrupt even the numbers. Because 13 existed in America actually, as you know, is our own county system. We had our own county system, especially in South America, that a lot of that came up here. So we had these same numbers. I mean, again, you know, the Mayans and the Olmec based everything on the 5, you know, you got 20 digits. Everything was based on that 1320 rhythm. So no, it's not in that essence, but what it does is it is like a type of signal. That's why we was mentioning these signals of his death, and then behind these death, we looking at all these other stories of 13, 13, 13, 13. So we see that there's almost like a communication. There's almost like a communication that this was done in ritual. And that's why we're applying the 13 to this right now, because we're just seeing this. And this is signaling to that. And that's, you know, I don't know if Zach says it like that, I'm not sure. But that's kind of how it's done. So doesn't really mean yeah, it doesn't really mean that it's I feel like when the wrong crowd comes in, I'm out. Yeah, I've done that. When I was younger and was a ball player, and like even one of my guys would come and he dropped a pistol one time. I'm like, man, I'm taking off. I ain't staying here. Ronnie drunk and Anthony got guns. I'm staying here for that. My boys like, man, why you bitching out? I'm like, yeah. And then Ronnie was one of I'd known Ronnie since a little boy. Ronnie was drunk. Anthony was drunk. They both had guns. I was about 15. I was driving, so I had to be 16. I'm like, yeah, I don't even need to be around that kind of shit right now. So I remember I got out. Hey, brother Sean, how you doing? Thank you for joining me. And that's the thing is, you like with Bug, you know, they're doing the fear program that's happening in Shanghai, a city of 25 million people, and they say they done lock down 25 million people again. This ain't no different than what we saw before. Trying to make you think it's different, it's not different. People are up to their fourth, sometime fifth, you know, applying. So when it's not going to end. Now, I don't know. I imagine that China's got to be coming into their summer too. So you're keeping people indoors in the summer. And then we have this White House thing. You know, they already said that it's passing through these. So this is kind of the clues, how they're telling you what they're thinking about doing. And people got to respond now, because do you know what it looks like? Locking away 25 million people. It looks like that movie we saw on Netflix last year. Looks just like that. They said that they even stopped where food was getting short because people couldn't even order things. Because that's another way they can starve you out. If you can't order, I mean, like they was trying to make you say that, you know, you had to cooperate to get into the stores and shit, right? Well, we got a society where you can order shit. I mean, DoorDash is still going. So what if they stopped all that, where you couldn't even order shit from the stores? And that's what they did in China for a while. They stopped that. So, you know, people are definitely going to be hungry on those occasions. So, and they don't like showing you, because they want to put it in the back of your mind. They want that fear thing. And that's what these last 2-3 years about, is total fear. That's all. Total fear. I mean, people have always gotten. So that ain't went away. People always gotten sick. People are going to keep getting sick. As I said, the minute you're born, you start to die. That's a fact. The minute you are born, you are on the clock to start to die. Nothing's going to change that. So the key here is don't fear death. And that's the hardest, I think, one of the hardest things to teach people, the hardest thing for people to understand. Because people will say, well, you giving up. It's not that you're giving up. It's like, no. And I'll really say this, and if I have to take it on the chin like this one day, I would, but I wouldn't put all that radiation poison in me. There's no way I would put all that in me. What do you think that does to me spiritually? I don't put all that poison in me, that radiation poison in me. What do you think is in me going to be spiritually if I went through that to get 20 more years or whatever? I'm 60 years old. I'm joyful. My children are almost all adults. One's 16, one's about to be, 10, about to be 11 in August this year. So I don't think I would I don't think I would take that poison, because I don't fear the end like that. That's natural, going to happen regardless. So better to keep my spiritual integrity than to kill that out of me in the guise healing me, because there's no way that is not going to burn some spirituality. And what I don't understand is religious people sit there and go through all that pain and don't doubt what you've been told in life about religion, and like, why is these children suffering? It's business part of it. Oh, thank you. It's very calming, very protective stone though. So thank you, Brother Sean. Very protective and very calming. I wanted to grab this one because I got one stone I'm sending you for sure. And I'm gonna send all of it to you too, because it comes with something. So I'm definitely gonna send that out too. But it's really a very protective, very cool energy. As I said before, I've got it in its own little box. I've got its own little box by itself. I got a nice little box I put it in. And, I put this in a hat to play, and so I was kind of used to the energy. So it's a very vibrant energy, very protective though. It's interesting to kind of, I'll tell you the feeling of it. It is almost like a umbrella, where this garnet kind of cuts through everything. It just kind of puts like a sheet of energy protection, than like like more of a force field energy, where the garnet and even the fire agate, they just blast through shit. They sending shit out. This was more like a force field kind of energy, knocking it off like that, instead of seeking where the wicked is and going after it. The garnet will do that. The garnet, no matter where you go, it is going after that evil shit. Or not, excuse me, not evil, but wicked. It's like, hey. But so yeah, very, very great energy that I really like. Thank you. Amazon hit when the thing started. I reckon they don't shut down all globally and take everyone's money. I think you got to be intelligent and catch out. Well, have things that to trade to and barter. Yep, have things that would trade and barter. Oh, well, thank you. That was so cool. But yeah, I mean, I take, it's all in a nice little wooden box where I keep it. So when I don't wear it. So yeah, thank you though. It's easy to lose the smaller crystals. I got palm stones. Crystals too. If you guys never experienced this, these motherfuckers disappear. These will disappear on you. They'll go on their own mission and leave. I mean, they're like, my mom that is up to, I paid one, I think I paid $125 for it. The other one I paid, she ain't have a scale. And so we kind of was bartering. I think I paid $250 for that one. Both of them are worth more than $2,000. And I've had them for about, both of them worth over $2,000 easy. I could sell them both for $2,000 more actually, because they're 25. Both of them are 25 grams. This piece here is, I mean, of course it's got the silver on it, but this is about 30 grams, everything. So, but what was my point? I forgot what that up. Oh, I brought it up because one of my pieces disappeared for about 7-8 months. It disappeared for like 7-8 months, and it reappeared in one of the coats. It's like, put one of my coats on. I was like, well, damn, where did this come from? So I had the same. I sent this stone to. Did I send that to Christina? think I sent that one to Christina. Yeah, sent that one to someone else. Maybe I sent that one to Barbara. One of my lights. When pink pedal light like that too appeared and then came back. So don't be surprised. They again, these are dimensional things, so they can disappear. Hey, PJ, what is happening? Good to see you. I hope you your travels and you're back safely. I hope you're back by now. PJ is my man. And PJ be at the games. Don't you were me right now? Don't you wish you were me? He be at the games like, don't you wish you were me right now? Don't you wish you were me? Yeah, the good seats and stuff. I don't sit in nosebleeds. Oh, and I'll tell you this. The only time I've been scared of sporting events, my brother's ex-girl got free tickets to see the Twins games. Somebody gave her free tickets. She didn't, and her boys go, so I took my boys. It was like me and my boys were little. They were like 9, 10. And then my son was probably in his early 20s. And we sat in them damn bleachers out at Target Field. Oh, my goodness. Them aluminum bleachers was moving every time somebody would walk, because I was used to sitting, like I sit behind second row home plate. You can sit by where the dude with the camera is. You can sit like beside him, or you can sit like right at the top of him where you still got a perfect view home plate. I like sitting there. I get tickets up in there. So out in the pictures though, oh my goodness. Target Center sitting up in the nosebleeds really that bad. I mean, pretty much every seat. US Bank, you can sit up high, still have great. You can see it's a big football stadium. Oh, back home. Okay, good. He back home. Good. I'm glad you traveled back safe. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. But yeah, he'd be like, don't you wish you me? Don't you wish it was me? I love it. You know, hype the moment for sure and enjoy it. I remember I was watching him and I was like, if the dude missed the free throw, we was going to get, what is the yogurt place, cherry or something like that. And I remember showing the game. They was playing Portland. I think it was CJ on the line. If he missed out, everybody got a cherry berry. And one game, the dude missed in this game. I think CJ made both shots, so he no cherry berry. But this is, well, I didn't go to a game last shortened season. I did not go to a game this year. So, and if I don't go to a hockey game in the next 3 weeks, it'll be this year, not even going to a hockey game. I'm definitely going to baseball. I would have went to baseball the other day, trying to think what happened, why I go. Like Wednesdays be free. It don't be free, but it'd be like $1 or 2 hot dogs and $1 or 2 beers. And it'd be, if it's a nice day, the weather ain't been that great either. You talking about when that wind makes them seats move, man. It ain't just a wind. It's like if people get up and get to walk out of that place, man, you feel all that. Oh my, this, you know, it ain't that Target Field ain't that old. And I'm sitting there and I'm like feeling people walk every time and we're swaying. Yeah, it felt like, I'm like, man, never again. Never. Wouldn't have been free tickets, I wouldn't have took them. But now I know I will be in them bleacher seats out in center field. Never. It is scary sitting out there. I'm sitting back in the stadium. Sit back there no more. That was the bank could be like 70,000 mugs, and you know how women and they fill up the bathrooms, but it's like the football games. To walk in, that's the time to get your food. Because if you wait for halftime, you're going to be waiting in this part of the game. Now, the Target Center is better. Basketball is where, you know, the food lines ain't as big because it only hold like 20,000 people. So the food lines ain't as big. But like football, they put all them extra bathrooms for women and still be for women. You know, just be quick. Used to be old horse trough where you peed in this old horse trough at the old U.S. The old Mall of America, one called the old Metrodome. had horse troughs, and then they had the stadium was so old it was cracks. People sued them because they fell shit. Yeah. uh, found that ticket on the game time. Yay, and their $90 taxes. Yeah, yeah. Like we used to have hookups where we used to get the boxes at Target Center. We used to get the boxes. The first time I took my daughter, that's 10 years old, we had a box. She was about a year, maybe 2 years old. We had a box at Target Field, or excuse me, on Target Center. And so, like, you can shut the door where they can't walk, that you can kind of shut the door to where the seats are. So you can shut that door. And so she was really inside. And then we had the food, they'll bring the food to you. Like, what do you guys want? They'll bring you to go get the food. Because where you sit up, they bring you got your own way. And so we was able to keep her inside where we could go out and still sit and watch the game. It was a bunch of us. So it was somebody always able to watch her. But then there was times where she would come out there and sit on our laps, watch the game. But that's the box was great. Shooting the boxes are lovely. You can get couches in them suckers. And yeah, that's a great way to see games. That's a great way to sit in the boxes. But yeah. But I've taken my daughter when she got older. We went to see a bunch of Lynx games. Her mother took her to a Viking game. So she got, she's got the sports bug in her. And so maybe in the next 2-3 weeks, I might go to a hockey game. We'll see how the schedules work out. So maybe I'll make a hockey game. I hope so. But it looks like the Wild are going to make the playoffs too. So. And the Timberwolves made the playoffs, so positive season. They probably ain't gonna go very far, but at least they'll make the playoffs because they was always selling tickets a couple of weeks ago, and then they was like, well, they're already selling the play-in tickets. They kind of gave you Peterson is one of the announcers' ex-players. He kind of gave you a little heads up. He's like, well, and his other announcer was straight quiet. He said that because the Timberwolves was trying to get into that 6th spot, but he ended up at 7, so they got to do a play-in game. But the announcers, he busted them out. He said, well, they're already selling tickets. I don't think he's supposed to say that. And sometimes they make mistakes. If you listen to them, sometimes they make mistakes. They tell because they know the script. And sometimes they just get to be talking. A lot of times you hear that dead air. If somebody said something, they said a mistake. Announcer. When they say mistakes, and I don't mean just, pronouncing a word wrong, but giving up too much. I think Lobo showed how Barkley was saying, magnets help that shot. And everybody else get quiet because they all know. Yeah, check Lobo's workout. He shows, and I don't know if y'all remember this, but before Kobe died, and this has to be maybe 4 years, Kobe came out with a ball that kept some of your stats, like how long you dribbled, and I want to even say shots, but this came out a while ago, and it had a little bit of chip in it. And then Lobo shows how they cut that ball up, but it's not the Kobe anymore. I think it was a Spalding, but Kobe came out with a ball, or Kobe was in the commercial. I don't know if any of y'all remember that, but Lobo shows where they cut it out and they show the battery and they show the chip in the basketball. They tried to get that ball, the metrics ball, passed with a Spalding for the NBA. They claimed that it got voted down by the owners, but perhaps they still use it since they switched companies. So I'm guessing perhaps they still use it. And I talked about many times about that soccer ball that bends them like Beckham. That was the first time I saw the actual grip glove because it was a commercial, and I never saw that commercial again. I only saw it one time. But it was the bend them like Beckham, and you could get the one ball grip glove. So, and then of course, Lobo showed it. I want to say Lorenzo sent that to me, where they show the football, how they put the magnets in, how the gloves are activated. I think so. You sent it to me maybe a year or 2 years ago now, but Lobo was showing that how he was sewing to put that magnet back in the football. So, man, they just keep it in our face with these magnetic balls. Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, you saw that too with Lobo? Yeah. And I'm glad that people can make these. I know my shortcomings. And so I'm glad that people can continue this work and put our foot on their neck, because more people are going to be disinterested eventually. I noticed I knocked out one of my crystals when I was talking to Sly. I was like, snap, heard it fall. So, because the only way it's really going to go away is if people wake up, not even wake up, but people just understand that this is no different from wrestling. And that is what is eventually going to come out, because the more evidence and the more evidence, the more evidence and the more evidence, they're going to eventually have to admit they're like wrestling. And then you bet at your own, You lost, D says, I lost 2,500 with my ninja, Brian Brown. Oh, why would you bet on him? Why would you bet on him? And you saw Embiid won the scoring title. Now LeBron, Embiid. So, wow, you bet on LeBron. Ooh, I don't know. How long are you going? Oh my goodness, an hour already? Wow. So you lost on LeBron, huh? Nah, I keep a discretionary fund that I bet, and I don't bet outside of that. The Final Four, I was still able to make up a little money because they didn't cover, so I was able to make up a little money from getting the brackets busted, and was able to kind of make a little money off it. But I always keep money separate. I've got like everything separate. Betting money is always just betting money, no other. So, hey, homie, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So that's all money I save separate. I'm pretty decent with money. Pretty decent investing. I've been buying gold again since I was like 19. I started working. I started buying gold personally. So coins and crap. Who do I have for MVP? I don't really know. Probably Embiid, I guess. He won the scoring title. I don't know. John Cena told a joke at the ESPYs and said that the NFL is no different than the WWE. Well, of course. I mean, if you look at their licensing, it's all the same licensing. That's why I don't know why they gave Vince McMahon a hard time when he had XFL. I thought he tried to make it a little more creative. I thought the going each other as fast as you can to get the football is reckless. I mean, that's reckless. You taking a running start and you both trying to get a fumble, that's going to get somebody hurt. But other than that, I don't know why they grilled him so hard, because it's all under entertainment license. And out of entertainment license, if you read the licensing, it's actually legal for them to script their games, and their license is legal. It's legal to control their product. It's legal. Just, don't take my word for it. Look it up. There's wording in there, something like it is legal for them to script their games. That's not illegal. And people still bet on wrestling. You go in there knowing wrestling is scripted, and people still bet on it. People still bet on wrestling. So, can you guys hear that wind? My goodness. Is the microphone picking up that wind? Wow. It's like howling. I mean, you hear it. Like, really hear it. You're like, woo. Oh, a lot of that shock energy. Might get nice little solitude, little bit of meditation when I get done here. I got to get up early. I can't go terribly long. And I'm sorry last night. I went off early and my mother butt dialed, because it's like I got a call at 1 a.m. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what is going on? So I had to get off and see what my mother was like. Why are you calling me this late? I'm like, you just called me. She's like, oh, I saw the phone ringing and it was on accident. I'm like, I killed my show because on accident. But that's how it goes. Sometimes I'm not going to go terribly long tonight, because my therapist is not going to be too happy to tell her I hurt my foot again, and she'll see my foot all swole up. But I do get my knee brace tomorrow, because like what happens is when your Achilles really gets thick, like when it gets tight, it really thickens. And so take something like this made out of steel and just on my Achilles, both of them. It doesn't feel good, but it helps loosen it. But it doesn't feel good. My thermal gun is a lot better, but it still hurts. Like where they attached it, it's always sore. And as I said, my foot catches. Sometimes my foot, like even when I walk stairs, especially like in slides, sometimes my foot, I won't pick up my foot enough and it'll catch. And that just is straight Achilles pain. It's getting old, especially athlete is a trip. Like gabapentin, if it wasn't for gabapentin, I would be in severe pain every day. I mean, my hand pain, the nerve pain in my hands, after smashing these and breaking almost every finger, breaking this hand. I mean, the hand pain was, and pain becomes normal. Really does. A lot of people live with pain, and it's almost like pain becomes normal. And so I know gabapentin's got a lot of other things, but there was nothing else. And I said before, sticking steroids in my damn hands was the most painful shots I ever experienced. He did one thumb and then he did the other one. He was going to do the middle of my hand. I was like, man, if you stick me with that again, I am going to sock you right in this office. Do not stick that, because that shit hurts so bad. So that nerve pain is almost, especially just where your thumbs is just all the time. I ain't gonna say aching. I'm just like hurt. And so gabapentin helped that. And I know it's got a lot of other effects, but it's like, I don't know. There's a reason why Vince McMahon can run a wrestling federation and a football league. Yeah. Like he was on that HBO show and dude was grilling him. Like, how can we trust you now? Like, how can we trust you? He has a product that's the same as everybody else's product. That's all. And again, look at the license agreement. There's no sport under trues. There's licensing. You can get licensed for having a true original sport. You get a sporting license. Ain't none of them have that. All of them got the entertainment license, because look under it. You can find that there is licensing for sports. None of them. They all got the entertainment way. And so therefore, they can have a product that ain't real, because you can script your own product. That's pretty much what the court said. No crime in them script. There's no crime in them scripting their own sports. There's no crime in that. So but I just give suggestions to deal with pain on however you can deal with it. Again, I know, saying the cancer, and that's extreme. And of course, thumb pain ain't gonna kill me. It ain't gonna kill me if I just take it. It's just mentally, it's just there that keeps you from having clarity when you just keep suffering that kind of pain. I mean, if it's the end and your body's eating you up so bad, that's a different type of way to get into your inner space too, because it happens to us all. I mean, I've had, as I said before, I'm able to even see future relatives, and I've had a future vision with one of my future relatives, and I'm older than a motherfucker. I'm like old. I mean, I saw myself and I was like, oh, I had to be high 90s, if not 100, but not terribly, up. But I just remember when the future came in and held my hand. And what happens is, as older people are at these reunions and stuff, your immediate family is kind of tend to you, but it's like things going on around you because you pretty much ain't moving as much. And this future relative came and grabbed my hand and held my hand. But I was old. I was very old. I just remembered like, whoa, Tobe, that's how it's going to look. But it's inevitable. And I rejoice in getting old. I have so many. That's the bad thing about getting old. You see all these deaths. And a lot of you, the communities you see the same thing. But I've seen violent deaths. I've my share of violent deaths, but I've seen my share of just, natural old age deaths. And the tragedies in the last year, losing my nephew, losing losing a cousin, a young cousin. And the spirit work that comes after that. It's never a fun thing. But we just cherish the moments that we have and we keep pushing forward. And that's all we can do. You cherish the moment, you cherish their memories, and you just keep forward. That's all you can do. Because they're where they're supposed to be, and you have to keep working every day to make sure you end up where you're supposed to be. And that your soul is free. And we glamorize all these people, but these people have, they've given up something. And see, this is kind of how it goes. It's like they want you to glamorize them so much that you end up selling your soul because you follow them. And what I mean is, and this is not really an easy thing to explain, but people follow these wicked people, and then these people in their own ways, and sometimes not knowing, they sign away their energy signatures because they're following certain people and certain things are offered to them. And sometimes they don't even realize that they are signing away their energy signature. But they're influenced by these people that already have signed theirs away. And that is part of their job, is to convince you to sign it away too. I mean, that is their job, it's like the vampire has to spread the vampires around. The beast wants to feed on as much. It just don't want to feed on these celebrities. It wants to feed on it wants to feed on everything. It doesn't want these just corrupt minds all the time. It wants free minds. Sometimes it wants uncorrupted minds. And I say that, stupid people, there's more stupid people in the world than there aren't. And what we're seeing, and you in your own world, look, a lot of stupid people. I know I do. I know a lot of stupid people. And that's what we're faced with. Oh, you remember that? Well, thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind. Yeah, my brother, to lose his son is, at 30 something. And I think he was 33 too. What were they trying to tell us? Pops in critical care right now for last week. He was going through withdrawals from liquor, but we don't know if he had a seizure, but he's super confused and only remembers little things. Well, we'll send energy to him. Regardless of, how he got there, we'll still send positive energy to him. And we all can just join and just send positive energy. Yeah, let's all just send hard hit, positive energy, healing energy. And yeah, let's all do that now. We can just all have that positive thought. That's all it takes, just have a positive healing energy, nothing more. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Because that's kind of what we're here for, is try to, okay. Been seeing the 333s. Okay. Yeah. Well, of course they want to, they want to curse you. They want to hex you. And again, doors is the greatest hex. We live in hexed. These boxes really natural for us. But that is, and I guess that's something I forgot to mention about Masons, is Masons want us to live in these boxes. We live in we live in their geometry, no doubt. No doubt. We live in a Mason geometry. You just see it. And you look at other civilizations, how they kind of change some of this Mason geometry. If you look like at Chikoa, everybody had their own little pyramid. Their own little dwelling was a type of little pyramid. So these boxes ain't the only way to live. You can live in, look at the insects. Look at how bees create theirs, but that's not the one I want. I want the ones that eat the wood. Look at how they create their homes. I mean, these are sometimes you look at how what are they called? They live in the South and they eat the wood. But if you look at some of their developments, it's like 200 or 300-story places. That's equivalent to what it would be to us, that they're able to engineer that kind of thing. But they don't live in a box, with all these rectangles that are caskets. So it ain't even enough that they hex us so much in all the other part of life that they've even put us in dwellings to double hex us. And so you wonder why you want to have so many crystals and stuff to counter this stuff, because it has to be constantly countered. Because if without countering it, it's just that dread. What we live in is dreadful. It's a dread, the way we live and what they box us in. House, apartment, sleeping bag, wherever. You gotta, these dwellings are dreadful. I mean, far as if you look at the spirituality, I mean, just think of how, if you could spiritually create your own space, you don't necessarily need this. And of course, most of the time, you got to be rather rich. Okay. Oh, no problem. We send it. We send positive energy. Definitely. That isn't. It just takes intention. Just good intention. That's all we have to do is just our intentions. As long as our intentions is set, that's all we can do. Because collectively, I'll say this, even and one thing that you have to understand about all religions is at times they got to work. That's one thing about religion. There's times that they have to. People will quit blind believing. So people go outside somebody's room and pray. They might be the luck where that entity will help, because as I've said, demons gonna do good work. They ain't just doing evil all the time. You ain't enticing with wicked all the time. You've got to find other ways to entice. And it's the same way with all these religions. Every now and then they got to work, because the entity that feeds off these religions has to pay. You convince all these people to believe in you. If every now and then you don't come through, people won't believe. So to even see the trickery in that, source is a natural healing thing. A natural healing beam comes from the source. You don't have to, it doesn't have to trick you. It's there all the time. There's just natural healing energies that's always out. And you just have to keep yourself in the right vibration and being able to tap into it, because that's how the source works. The source doesn't say, I'm a jealous God, I'm a hungry God. It doesn't need any of that. It doesn't need to prove anything, because it's always proving. These religions have to prove that they're real by granting 3 wishes every now and then. That's why really being the jinn is better, because the jinn for the 3 wishes, it gets rid of you. It don't need you anymore. It's like 3 wishes, boom, 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 I'm gone. It don't hurt me to do that. I could have did that without it. As long as you freed me, I could have gave you wishes the rest of your life, technically. Time is it? I can go a little more. Because I got to get it early in the morning. I wake up and I start to yawn it. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Real Roxanne. I always thought the real Roxanne was finer than Roxanne Shante. But Roxanne Shantae's song couldn't be denied. Like, people forget how hard her song hit the East Coast. Her song outshadowed UTO's song. I mean, her song was just a monster hit. And then this young girl was cussing, why you gotta make a record about me? Why? where the real Roxanne was a pretty girl. She's a pretty woman. Not saying Shantae wasn't good looking, but the real Roxanne was kind of prettier. But she never got what Roxanne Shantae did. Oh yeah, it did. That song hit the East Coast. Woo, I was living on the East Coast. I was like 19, still going to the clubs around the college and stuff. That's rippled all up and down the East Coast. They was playing it on the radio back to back to back. It was hitting so hard. The radio station's like, all I'm getting calls is this song, and so we're gonna keep playing it. That song hit hard, especially the full version where she be cussing and stuff. And she's young cussing. Hell, that was like 81, maybe 80. The summer. It was either the summer. I was in camp somewhere. Trying to think. 81, maybe? Maybe 82. I forget the years. No, I was working then, so I was back. Yeah, I was going to camp when it came out. I was working because I heard it at work on the radio one day. Yeah. Forget. Yeah, that song hit hard. But I like all kind of music, I really do. I mean, some country I can tolerate, because they be like, there's a tear in my beer and I'm missing you, dear. The cowboys be singing, the hillbillies be singing the blues. They'll be like talking about missing a chick in a minute, But tear in your beer. There's a tear in my beer because I'm missing you, dear. I always tease my mother because her family, they're a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. That's that Donnie Marie Osmond. Well, guys, I am gonna cut it. I'll be on Tuesday afternoon at 2:30 because I will be picking up my daughter because it's going to rain all week. So I'm not gonna get a lot of exercise when I go to the mall. I've been waiting for I'm still getting therapy on my elbow. I'm kind of waiting for it to heal before I start it again. But he was complaining his leg was hurt because he did a lot of leg work. But I think I'm gonna start going at it, getting prepared to get in shape. Even though I got these injuries, I can deal with them. Get in shape for full-blown pickleball dominance. And have fun. And I'll probably show matches and stuff. But it's just a great way to get in shape. Again, I lost about 25 pounds. I'm able to maintain the weight loss. So, as I said before, I'm only about 6 foot, maybe 6.5 feet. And when my daughter was born, I was up to 75. And now, of course, we're talking about 10 years later, but I've been able to maintain about 223. I just think I look too skinny at 200. I really do. I looked at my uncles and I looked at my dad, and I don't know. I want to die looking a little fat. I just looked at them cats. They lost that weight, and it seemed like kept losing weight. And I'm like, no, I'm going to keep a little of this weight. I'm going to stay around. Maybe lowest I'll get is 215. I'll probably about 215. So if I can lose 8-9 pounds this summer, that'll be. But I'm going to play pickleball probably 10 hours a day once May hits. Once we get into the long days of May. And I think people don't understand what May gives us. We getting 13, 14, 15 hours a day. And if you meet the sun, like those of you that want to learn how to sun gaze, that is one of the greatest times is in May when that morning sun comes up and have all the intensity, and it will clear a lot of this out. It'll clear. Like if you think that your third eye might be calcified, sun gazing is a way to burn it. Of course, there's crystals. Again, you contact me, I can kind of show you what type of crystals can kind of out too. But sun gazing in May, and again, it's here in America. I know people from other places, but May here in America, we coming into the long days. Remember, when the solstice hits, the days start getting shorter. What is it, the 21st of July? Or is it the 21st of June? That's when days get shorter. So we're peaking where the days are longer. So And I want to see how this, they said we're supposed to get daylight savings all the time. Wait till they keep daylight savings into the fall. Wait till November. And you taking your children going to school at 8, 9 o'clock and it's still dark. Because I experienced where they didn't change. And that's what we had. We was going to school, it was still dark. We was sitting in the classroom, still dark. Never experienced that in my life, being in school while it's dark. But here, I want to say I was in 7th grade, so that was probably like 73, maybe, something like that, 73, 74. Michigan didn't go to daylight savings. And we would get to school while it was dark. We would walk to the bus while it was dark, ride the bus to school, be in class, and it's still dark outside. So I don't know if they thought that one through. So I don't have the cards right, so I don't really know what Mayan day it is. So please forgot not giving the divination. I'll just go a quick review of the points. No, I'm not even gonna do that. If anybody asks me, I'll go a review of that. This is history. People probably don't even care. So I don't want to bore everybody with that. But I will give everybody Mora. In a way, like Mora is a way to, when you're immortal, you still have to find ways of being motivated. But the Time Walkers weren't just immortals, they were civilization builders. So as civilization builders, that's why it says it starts with a gentle sadness, because you really have to leave your normal life, your normal realization, and you have to go civilization build. And it's sad because once the civilization is thriving, it's the end, you leave. So that's what it says, it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They had exact numbers of years and days before they disappear off the earth as they code in the lifestyle. But the civilization would build to a gentle love. So even though it was somewhat looked at as a burden, they still loved doing it. And they loved what they were giving to society, people. This vibration was going to be positive and help them. So they, in the Creator's Day, enumerate cycles in the Great Serpent, which is our Milky Way. So these people are talking about being able to move through the Milky Way, whatever it is. And as I always say, as the mind would greet each other, they would say, I am another yourself. And you really have to think about what that means, being in the moment, being present. What does that mean to you, that I am another yourself? As you look at each other, as you go through. Because we're made out of the same source, the same thing. No matter what you believe, that we all come from the same substance. That's why it's interesting, even in slavery, for them, that you try to look at the rhetoric of how they justify saying that these people are different when they know that's a lie. They know that's a lie. They knew that if they had sex with one of the slaves, that the slaves could get pregnant and the cooch or whatever felt the same. So they already knew that was a lie. So remember, I'm another yourself. And tonight, as you go in your creation ball field, which you call your creation, ball field, which is also another way to say a bed, may you be unbothered. May you be able to go into your dream screen without anything bothering you, anything attacking you. May all your protections be up and may they work for you. And in closing, remember, love just is. If you got to add more to that, then it might not be love, because love just is. Love doesn't need a booster. You smoke weed or you hit a cigarette and you drink a beer or take a drink. It's a booster. Love just is. It needs nothing else. It's just there or it's not there. It's not there, you have to accept. It's there, then rival at it. It's a great feeling loving. It really is. Amore. That's a great feeling. And to have that click with somebody. I mean, I'll tell you, one of the greatest feelings of being married when you're in love. It's like you at a party and you just happen to be on opposite sides of the room and you just look at each other. You kind of gaze at each other. And in just that moment, you're connected. And it's like everyone else goes away, but your gaze and the way you're kind of sending that love back and forth to each other, that is a great feeling. And I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, but that is a great feeling. To just know that that one person out of no matter how many people in the room love you. That is a great feeling. And that's something that can't be faked. I remember I won a game, and I've told this story before, but just to understand how I wanted my ex to be in that moment, I just made a good coaching decision, and I'd like had done it. I was like, I showed these motherfuckers I can coach. But just that feeling, I just wanted her to feel a little bit of that. And I was like, as I grabbed her and I held her, and I just wanted her to feel some of that energy that came to me from just showing people I knew how to do what I was doing. Or even seeing a child advance that you coach. I mean, that is a great feeling. Just to see that the work helped them, that they've done their best, and you had a part in them doing their best. However you help someone, if you help them and you see them benefiting from your help and doing their best, hey, that's a great feeling. That's a great feeling. So, well, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I will not be on again until Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So catch me then. I will be on Responsible Daddy Hour Tuesday at 2:30 Central. So be there or don't be aware. You know, Don Cornelius used to say, how did he used to do it? Love, peace, and soul. Remember that? Soul Trade. Soul Trade is a long time for a bunch of us. Even the newer Soul Trains is still about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It went off a while ago. So, find joy. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac. And as always, till we meet again, say less, y'all.